Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I am your host Guy, joined by my fellow co-host Brewer.
Hey, what's up everybody?
And Connor.
Hey.
Connor, you okay there, man? You sounded a little bummed out today.
Yeah, I am pretty bummed out. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you probably lost the game of Fortnite.
No, Brewer, despite what you think of me, I don't get that caught up in Fortnite that my day gets completely ruined when I lose a game.
Sure, Connor.
Okay, for real though. What's going on, man? What's going on?
I was just browsing like social media and stuff, and I saw an article that said Microsoft was shutting down Tango Gameworks, and I'm really upset because they were such like a good studio.
Those were the guys that created Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Yeah, and Microsoft shut it down because they're a bunch of fucking dumb shits who don't know what the fuck they're doing, and all they want to do is just sit in the cuck chair while they watch their wives get fucked.
Whoa there, Connor, getting a little wild there.
That's a...
I think that's pretty fair, because Hi-Fi Rush was a damn good game, so it's a shame the studio got shut down right after making a fucking award-winning game.
That is fair, and that is fair. But with that being said, guys, we're going to be talking about video game shutdowns and layoffs and what that entails. What are video game layoffs and how are they affecting the industry and how we're seeing this change over time? So guys, brief overview of video game layoffs. We're seeing a massive increase of layoffs in the video game industry and company shutdowns, whether this be, as Connor mentioned, Tango Gameworks, or we have Microsoft's 8% of their gaming company on Xbox being shut down, which roughly equates to around 1,900 people. Like, that's insane. If you think about it.
1,900 people just unemployed now. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Imagine the people who wanted to do that as their passion job. They finally got a chance to work for one of the big companies on the planet for video games, and then because of the budget for a video game got increased, they had to get laid off for it.
Like, dude, that just sucks, because you land a job at Microsoft, that you should have been set at that point for life or something. Like, you're working with a big massive studio, you're finally getting to put some passion into the games you're working on, but yeah, no, then you just get fucking laid off because the fucking shareholders need their cuck money.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's the unfortunate side of things, and I want to talk about why this is happening, as our first little topic here. I've done some research on this topic, and this has to deal with the rise in budget needed for video games to be completed nowadays. So what do I mean by this? So when you're making a video game nowadays, you have to consider a lot of different things. You have to consider the engine that the game is being ran on. You have to consider the resources that are being made for the game. You have to consider potential voice acting, and you have to consider the people that are working on the game to create this product. Now the thing is that as time goes on, all of these four things that I've mentioned are getting more advanced. But because they're getting more advanced, they're also getting more expensive. Compare the original Super Mario Bros. Game to something like Baldur's Gate 3. We have Super Mario Bros., which is a 2D platformer which does not require the largest engine software to run, has no voice acting, so you don't need any of that to worry about the game, and it's an original IP. Well, it was a kind of original IP at the time from Nintendo, so no licensing problems had to go through with making this game. Relatively short development time, was able to be shipped out on game consoles very quickly, and was very successful. Now, compare that to a game like Baldur's Gate 3, which, not even made by a AAA studio, by the way, had to get the rights to the Baldur's Gate, not the Baldur's Gate, the D&D franchise, which is Hasbro. You have to invest into that. You have to invest into voice actors to voice your characters, because every line of dialogue in the game is voiced. which is insane for a 150-hour video game. And on top of that, it's running on an engine that is extremely high-powered, and only the newest consoles and PCs are able to run it. So develop a video game using that engine, the expenses for that are just going to be skyrocketing. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's also a very big problem of like graphics, because nowadays a lot of companies and video games are trying to have video games that visually look super realistic, like God of War, Baldur's Gate to a degree, and other games like that have like super trying to be realistic graphics. But because that they are trying to do that, you also need to have a very powerful engine. And because you need that very powerful engine, as guys said before, it becomes more expensive, and so on and so forth.
Well, I think beyond just the engine as well, like those graphics, along with taking a lot of money, they take a lot of time to make, which the more time you're having to invest in a project, you got to pay people their salaries. So the longer that goes on, the bigger the chance it could fail instead of making your money back, and you still got a profit as well. So I think that's why a lot of people end up getting cut off and laid off, because they're looking at the budget and they're trying to figure out what the hell they can do. And the first thing they're going to look at is, okay, maybe we can reduce the manpower and reduce the scope so we can still make a profit on this thing.
That's also this is for like a different episode, but this also has to deal with why video games are becoming more expensive nowadays with the $70 like default price tag, is because the budgets of these video games are getting so high that it's harder to make a profit each time. Like, for the best example I have here is God of War 2018 was one of the most successful video games in PlayStation's history in terms of sales, but the profits were not as good as something compared to like The Last of Us Remastered because of inflation and budgetary reasons.
Yeah, didn't Spider-Man, like, it was critically acclaimed. It sold really well, but it still didn't make a crap ton.
I think that might
one
be
of them,
true, actually.
Yeah, I think a
I'm
leak
looking it up
may
right
have confirmed that. Yeah.
Wait, speaking of, didn't we actually see a massive amount of layoffs from Insomniac Games after the release of that game? Spider-Man 2 specifically?
Actually, yeah, I think you're right about that.
That's
Which is a very sad trend to see. You release a good goated ass game and then laid off. Congratulations, you made a great game that got nominations for Game of the Year. Sorry, you gotta go. Pack your bags.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Can I just
Go for it,
talk
man.
about that?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
That entire situation infuriates me, and it's not just because I'm a huge fan of Hi-Fi Rush, but there are multiple reasons why it infuriates me. As Brewer said before, he wasn't talking about Hi-Fi Rush, but Hi-Fi Rush was a game that did pretty well. It won tons of awards for Microsoft and was beloved by like so many people. And then Microsoft still shut it down, and the supposed reason is because the studio Tango Gameworks was pitching a game for Hi-Fi Rush 2, which would have been really good, but it required more manpower. And Microsoft was like, no, we can't have that. And so they shut Tango Gameworks down. And then, I am not even kidding, the literal fucking day after they did that, they did an interview or whatever, where they said, we need to make smaller games that win.
I saw that shit. Smaller games that win awards.
That Hi-Fi Rush was, and they still shut it down, which pisses me off beyond belief. Because it is like the standard definition of shooting yourself in the dick. Because that
think about.
Dude, Microsoft are the kings of shooting themselves in the dicks, because like they buy up so many goddamn studios, but they still don't have no goddamn games or exclusives.
It is quite literally the Microsoft is literally the encapsulation of that one Smiling Friends image where it's the CEO and he's like, "It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with." Like literally.
Bro, I love how the one time they did something with Banjo-Kazooie, it was nuts and bolts. Then they never did anything until Nintendo was like, "Hey, Smash Bros."
It's really funny because I do think that Smiling Friend, that specific Gwimbly episode, like, I've theorized this because, like, there's just a lot of hints, but I genuinely do think that is, like, a hint at Microsoft not using Banjo-Kazooie, and maybe even, like, Ubisoft not using Rayman and, like, other IPs, which I think is just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, Banjo and Rayman are some of the most notorious ones. There's probably tons of examples out there. But, like, Jesus.
But yeah, getting back into, like, the layoff portion of this, dude, it is insane. Like, Microsoft in specific, like, I feel like it's the biggest offender of this because of how many companies it has taken over, like, it has, like, encapsulated into its, like, Microsoft family now. I was looking at statistics, and most of we have two different, like, layoff periods that came in 2024. The Sledgehammer, we have, no. We have the Activision Blizzard and the Sledgehammer / Toys for Bob's employees getting laid off, with about 30% of them actually being laid off, which happened at the beginning of this year in January. And we also had, in about a month or two ago, we had the Hi-Fi Rush developers, Tango Gameworks, getting shut down, as well as Arcane Studios. They did it in, like, different times. Not only this, but January 2024 had around 6,000 people being laid off from different studios, that most of them came from AAA studios. So I want to think about this for a bit. Like, why is that? And, bro, I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you about to say?
I just had a wild thought. In an alternate timeline where, like, a while back, Microsoft tried to buy out Nintendo, but they basically laughed them out of the room. Imagine an alternate timeline where they did buy out Nintendo, they didn't do shit with their games, and then Nintendo got shut down.
Here's the thing. If Microsoft would have bought Nintendo, we would have like 30 different Mario games, maybe 10 different Zelda games, and any other franchise would not have been touched. We would not have, we wouldn't have Dread, we wouldn't have New Horizons, we wouldn't have any of that stuff, because Microsoft will buy up a bunch of studios and stuff like that, and get their IPs and do jack shit with them.
Yeah, that's
it is insane.
I want, like, it's crazy because, like, going back to the January thing, I don't know if that's because of the turn of the new year. That has to be it. But it's like, why specifically in January? It's fucked up because, like,
I think maybe that's when the fiscal, what is it called?
Oh, the fiscal year.
Yeah, fiscal year's over, so then they're checking budgets and whatnot. Then they're being like, oh shit, we're like $2 over budget. Our shareholders ain't gonna be happy with that. Fucking delete these people.
The fiscal year might have an influence in that, but the fiscal year does not end in December and begin in January. I had to look this up the other day. The fiscal year...
I'm just saying it's around the same time period, so maybe that's an explanation for it.
No. The fiscal year begins and ends in June. So you might be cooking a little bit with that, though. Like, half of the fiscal year is over, so maybe they had to think, oh, our expectations are not being met for this fiscal year, so we're just gonna lay off these people, and hopefully these new games will help us in the long run.
Yeah, I'm thinking like quarterly and like half-year reports aren't too uncommon, so I can't see them like at a quarterly report or something being like, damn bro, our $300 billion live service game failed. Fucking cut off the $20 million project.
Jesus.
Dude, that's another problem. There's so many damn live service games out there competing with each other to be ass, and then they're costing like half $1 billion to make, and then they're like, damn, why aren't they profiting?
I have a theory. Yeah. You first, Connor.
Well, no, you first.
Is it a game theory?
Matt.
Matt Pat, but I'm thinking about it like this. Disney has lost a lot of money on Disney Plus because of a lack of engagement. And that's because of like the streaming service model that has gone into that. And if you think about it, gaming has also been heading into that like area for a while now, primarily talking about PlayStation Plus and Game Pass on Xbox, where you pay an initial $60 a year or $12 a month, depending on what you want to do, and you get all these games, like 400 plus games, depending on the service, for free that you can play. I'm wondering if Microsoft is losing money from that because they post all of their exclusive games day one on Game Pass. Starfield, I guarantee you, not as many people bought it as they did play it because it was on Game Pass day one.
That is definitely interesting to think about, because like they have like Game Pass is like a monthly subscription, but like does that monthly subscription people are paying for like really offset the cost that much? And do the profits from that like exceed the maybe expected profits from those games just releasing normally?
Yeah, like that's a thing. Even the monthly, like you would think that like a monthly plan like that would help, but then again, there are plans that where you can just do $60 a year, which is personally what I do. And then, but the thing is, $60 a year is the equivalent of one game a year. When you're releasing 4 to 5 games a year, putting them on this free service, you're losing.
Well, it's 6/7 of the portion of some games. I mean, $70 games are releasing, so
yeah. So you're losing up like 80 to 90% of the money. You see what I mean?
Well, I would like to also quickly bring up something.
Yeah, go for it.
This is an article by Tom Warren. It was published February 15th of this year, and it says that Microsoft's Game Pass has 34 million subscribers, and if we take the max amount, that being $60. Now I know not everyone is buying the $60, but if we're just defaulting to the max amount you can buy, that is around $2,040,000,000, with obviously all the other money in there, all the thousands of stuff. So it's a shitload of money.
That's 240 million, but the problem with that is that $240 million is how much money. That's how much money a big release game should be making for them.
Yeah, I mean, when we're thinking about it, like Tears of the Kingdom, $70 has sold like 20 million copies. Like Nintendo is like probably doing the best out of all the big three right now when it comes to like their console and just like the profit they're making off of like each and every one of their games.
I agree.
Did I say 240 million? I meant to say 2,040,000,000.
2 billion for God, that's.
I mean, still, if we're thinking about multiple games releasing, though.
Connor, is it 2 billion and 4 million, or is it 2,400,000,000?
The calculator I'm using doesn't specify. Let me just here. You keep talking. I'll actually search up a calculator thing to do the math.
But okay, $2 billion. That's actually quite a lot. Now thinking about it. Yeah, that's 200. I just pulled up $2,040,000,000 on average if those people are paying for the $60 Game Pass.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. They're actually receiving a lot of money for funding. That's about 20 video games that you can build, like AAA studio games. Like averaging like 5 to 6
Wait,
games.
quick. Is that 2 billion like the straight profit, or is it just like the amount they get from the Game Pass? Like, is there still an amount that's being paid out for like to even have those games on there in the first place?
Oh, that's
and to fund the development of those games.
Yeah, that's something to consider. I didn't.
Yeah, because that's what I was wanting to know. Is that like 2,400,000,000? Is that the gross profit that they're already receiving? Or is it like, is that the amount they're getting from the Game Pass? and then they still got to put that back into just even keeping it up and running in the first place.
We'd have
Like how much of that is going into that?
We'd have to do a lot of
that's
math
fair.
for that.
That's fair, but
Yeah,
that's also
compared to
information that-
like Nintendo's strategy of just release the games and profit.
Yeah, no, that's fair because
which is working out for them because let's see, they're the richest company in Japan, so props to them for that.
They've got
and they got like $11 billion of value and no debt.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ, Nintendo's fucking rich.
It's insane how
they print
good
money.
They are. It's insane how good they are at money making. And the thing is that like Nintendo, at least Nintendo Japan, doesn't see a lot of layoffs. And I was talking to one of y'all earlier pre-recording about this, and that's because of the law, like labor laws protected in Japan that prevent people from being laid off or fired, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's more so like mass layoffs isn't something they can just do without reason.
Gotcha.
Whereas here, the Activision's CEO could like sneeze and accidentally fire like 100 people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the American government doesn't care for the workers and the citizens of its, country. That's,
Hey, blue collar workers! Shout out to you guys. I'm one of you. Life sucks.
Shout out to blue collar workers. Holy shit, that's insane to think about. Though it's like, it makes sense why Nintendo's doing well. Like workforce, I don't know. Like people might hate their jobs because I know the like Japanese work culture is very tiring and like very overworking. But I mean, shit, if Nintendo's doing well, like profit-wise, like they gotta be doing something right. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say one thing in Nintendo's favor, like you can't argue like the mass layoff things, like Nintendo not being affected by it. Yeah, the law probably did help with that, but Iwata like cutting his salary back then when Nintendo wasn't doing well. Like that's still something he had to actively decide to do. Like there wasn't a law saying he had to cut his salary when they were doing like in a real shit area compared to like fucking Blizzard. What is it, Bobby Kotick or something, giving himself a raise when they were doing garbage,
which is stupid.
Yeah, Bobby Kotick, because Blizzard just sucks all around.
One topic I kind of want to bring into this is a lot of people will probably think, oh, well, it's these big budgets that are causing the games to like, or causing these studios to lay off people, which like, yes, that is a factor in it, but that does not mean that it has to be the reason why people get fired. And I brought it up earlier near the beginning of this episode, but Larian Studios, the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, only have around 400 people like working, which is not
That's crazy
a lot.
knowing the scope of that game.
It's
knowing
insane.
the scope of Baldur's Gate 3 in specific.
Oh, for sure. And the thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is that it took about 8 years to develop on a $100 million budget. Okay?
Damn.
That's insane. Like, that's insane how big that is for, like, a budget. Then you compare that to, I don't know, give me a game that's like that
was in development hell for a while.
Or no, that just came out recently. Oh no, I know, Modern Warfare 3. We'll compare Modern Warfare 3, and the budget for that game is $1 billion.
1 billion? Is that right? 1 billion? That was the budget? Holy shit, I gotta look this up. Modern Warfare 3 budget.
And that was the first thing that came up. Okay, just for like a little thing, viewers. As of recording, Google has added this new thing called like AI overview. For me, it is saying that it had a budget of $1 billion to develop.
Let's see. I'm looking. Some other websites are saying similar numbers. Either way, that I would not surprise me because COD games are like hundreds of millions of dollars to produce. And also, there's a shit ton of them. Like, there are always people working on COD. As we speak, there's people working as COD. When they release a new game on that day, people are working on COD. They always have teams that are just being stripped to work on COD.
Exactly. But the thing
It's COD and
is that,
Destiny 2.
but here's the difference. Larian Studios cared about like the people developing the game and did not have any massive layoffs. Got Game of the Year. Meanwhile, we have Activision struggling to keep their workers, and because of that, Microsoft is firing the people in Activision Blizzard working on working on these COD games.
Yeah, well, Activision Blizzard has a whole lot more problems than just layoffs, though. That fucking hell. That sounds like a place. That sounds like hell to work at, or it just sounds like hell itself. Exactly. Working at Activision.
But yeah, it does sound like hell because like you're always in constant fear of either being harassed or just getting fired. That's insane.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ.
Episode. That's for a different episode though, because the workforce in video games. Ooh, I got a lot of thoughts about that. But I think it's about time we start wrapping up a little bit. I'm glad we got to talk about this a lot. Just as like a little concluding point for me, at least, it's just that I'm really glad we got to bring up some statistics about like this plague that's been going on in video games currently. I hate that the people working on like things in my favorite medium are struggling to like stay in the workforce when it's a passion, like when it might be a passion project for them. And
yeah, so shout out to game devs because like, geez Louise, you guys have it tough.
I know, even for people who like, we shit on the game a lot, but like the people who make like the Call of Duty games probably put a lot of heart and soul into it. It's just like they probably don't get a lot of directorial like support. You know what I mean? They have to do what they're given.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is a job, so it's like it's not like they were like be like, oh no, I won't work on COD because I'm passionate about this. It's like, no, you needed some money so you can fucking live. Exactly. Like there's a lot of devs out there that have made great products, but they've also worked on like shitty like shovelware games on the Wii or something because they had to get experience and they just they had to get a job to pay the bill. This place was paying for, I don't know, fucking Madagascar game or something. They were like, fuck it, I need to pay the bills.
Oh, that's funny. Oh god. But yeah, I'm really glad we got to bring this up, and it's a topic that I feel like just needs to be addressed, and we were able to do that. I'm really happy we did that.
Yeah, hopefully the situation can get better in upcoming years, but I don't really see it getting better, unfortunately, because these big execs are going to keep doing the same stupid shit, being like, damn, guys, we're having a real tough time. Let's make another $500 quadrillion live service game.
I have a
and
theory.
let's fire the guys that are working on Gwimbly 3.
Dude, I don't care how many people get fired or whatnot, but as long as we get Gwimbly 3 Return of the Cream Corn Cans, I'm happy. I'm happy.
I can die a happy man. I will have no regrets.
Same here. Connor, any concluding thoughts, man?
Yeah, I have a lot of concluding thoughts.
Oh no.
I'll try and keep it brief. CEOs are literally like, at least in the video game industry, although you could probably apply it to every CEO, all they are is Mr. Krabs, but they're not funny. All they care about is money. Like at least the big ones, like Microsoft, Sony, etc. They only care about money, and they only see the short value of like getting those profits. That's why they shut down the studio. That's why they shut down Arcane Studios. That's why they shut down Tango Gameworks. It's why all these other studios and people are getting laid off, is because they want to take the easy way out and get a lot of profit without having to pay a bunch of people to, produce the stuff. It's why recently the EA, like at least an EA bigwig, said that the company is going to start looking into AI because they want to take the easy way out. You don't have to pay an AI. You don't have to pay an AI to generate a background or generate a character's dialogue. You just type it into a computer. But you have to pay a worker or a writer or a game dev to do that stuff. And it's why this infuriates me, because I'm very passionate about, the work,
the creative process.
I am very passionate about the creative process, and so to see these big companies and these CEOs constantly shutting this stuff down when the video game industry is already incredibly hard to get into. Like, we didn't even talk about how tough it is to be an indie dev when, like, multiple indie devs, all you're doing essentially the entire game process of writing, working on the graphics, working on the animations, all of that.
Yeah,
And
not even worry about marketing and then trying to stand out in the cesspool that is Steam that has
exactly,
millions of releases.
exactly, and that is why I will always be a person who tries to find indie games, who tries to play them, because I want to support those who are trying and struggling to make it in the industry when it's such a harsh industry, especially in this year when we have had so many layoffs and so many, like, CEOs only care about themselves and getting that short time profit. I
Yeah.
know that was pretty rambly, but like it just it makes me super angry.
No,
I
I
mean,
get
I
that,
say
man.
this
I
is
get that.
this is a topic to get pissed off about because like people are losing their livelihoods over this just because like a bunch of idiots on top keep making terrible decisions.
Video games are an art, they're a business, but most importantly, they're a form of entertainment. And the fact of the matter is, we're seeing a lot of changes in that right now, and some good,
Yeah,
some bad. And I
yeah,
hate that we're seeing a bad side of it right now. It sucks because people like us are just as passionate, if not more passionate, and they make games and they want people to experience what they have to offer, but they just
yeah. I mean,
can't.
our entire channel is based around just video games, so like seeing the people that are at the forefront trying to make them, trying to make great pieces of art, get shut down and lose their livelihoods. I mean, it just sucks to see, man.
Yeah.
It,
A little depressing way to
yeah,
end the episode, but hell, with that being said, guys, if you like content like this, please leave a like and subscribe.
Maybe leave a comment saying, fuck you Activision Blizzard, fuck you EA, fuck you Sony, fuck you Microsoft. Just basically fuck all of the shitty companies out there.
True. But I mean, with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching our episode on the recent layoffs in the video game industry. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much. We've been Fetch Quest. See you later.
See you
goodbye.
guys.